Good morning. I am Shaggy. I am Philolitea. Allow me to wipe the tears out of my beard. This is going to be an ode to the dawn. One of the things that I've been doing since 2019, since I got really into acid and then had to stop, and then I lost everything I had worked for my whole life. One of the things I've been doing since 2019 is revisiting great moments from the past that I didn't get to experience. Not revisiting, but as an historian and as I started to say in a previous video, as a fan of history, which means I know that I can't compete with real historians, but I like to think that I can, and I like to admire their craft by emulating it. And so I began with Van Halen when Eddie died. And what I did is I listened to a lot of the old music, but really I went back and I watched old performances. And so what I do now is I scroll shorts looking for moments. This is why I made that video about how stupid Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright are for just now realizing in 2025 that television relies on live events to get people glued to the TV. Why? Because you don't get to be there, and because it's not going to DVD. It wasn't going to VHS. Like the Grammys, those didn't go to tape. You didn't get to watch those later. Those weren't streamed. And so you had to watch it live if you cared. Had to. And so I've been watching old concerts. Because the live music that we have presented to us and have had presented to us, I mean, even since the days of American Bandstand or whatever, is pre-recorded. It's lying. It is fundamentally, these artists are fundamentally lying to you. That's why bands like Nirvana and Metallica are legendary. Green Day. I watched a Green Day performance at the iHeartRadio Festival where they only gave them a 1-minute spot to play. And so Billy Joel freaked out like he should have. Absolutely freaked out. Spent the minute ranting at the people who set up the festival. Who the fuck brings Green Day in 2008 to a festival and gives them 1 minute on stage? Fuck you. And that's what he's like. I have been famous. I have been the biggest pop band or punk band since 1988. Fuck you, man. Smashes his guitar on stage and walks off. It's fucking awesome. But that's a moment that if you weren't there, and if you didn't watch it on TV or stream it on iHeartRadio's, how do you know about it? And if you're not a fan of the band, who talks about it? I stumbled on a short from a super fan who was just like, who remembers when Billy Joel was awesome? So I've been living my way like that. I've been living my life like that. Like after I finish recording this, I'm going to go back and watch the MTV Music Awards where Metallica played all of one. They were supposed to only play the radio edit on stage. And what I want to talk about today is I just watched the most spiritually fulfilling thing I think I've watched in a long time. I watched Heart perform Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven to Led Zeppelin, accompanied by a choir and an orchestra, and the Bonham who was their drummer who died, one of his progeny, either his son or his grandson, on drums. And I watched Robert Plant weep at what they had done with his vocal harmonies. Just, oh my God. Just beautiful. Just, you could die. And it was for a room of like 1,000 people. And none of them deserved to be there but Led Zeppelin. None of them understood what they were seeing. That was from Heart, the women in Heart, to the men of Led Zeppelin, and that was it. And oh my God, just, you don't understand. You don't understand. That song was 50 years ago. 50 years ago, we didn't keep our heroes for 50 years. The 35 Club or the 33 Club was very real. Those women in Heart knew. They knew people who died in their 30s. Artists, I can't think of any of their names. The guitarist, the singer. They knew Bonham. Their drummer, Led Zeppelin's drummer, who died in his 30s, like when the band was still in its prime. Like Beethoven. His music didn't get to be played back to him 50 years after he wrote it. And that moment, the people who were there, it's not envy that I feel. It's jealousy over that moment because they don't understand. You've got like late night TV hosts and Obama and his family there, and they're just neat. They didn't cut to a single person who wasn't in Led Zeppelin who wasn't just awestruck and in tears with the majesty, the importance. But those people were politicians and TV performers. They couldn't understand the philosophical, religious under the moment. They couldn't understand. They couldn't. They're just not primed to understand. Behind every great man is a woman. And Heart wanted all of those politicians to know it. Heart is one of the greatest bands of all time. Those women are two of the most talented women of all time, and they used to stand in awe of Eddie Van Halen and his brother. They just wanted to hang out with the dudes because the dudes were so much cooler than the chicks. You have ruined men. You have ruined men. I watched this morning that Grammy Awards by the Beautiful Things guy. Oh, the beautiful things that I've got. Please stay. He's begging this woman. He starts the song by thanking God for letting him have this woman, and then he spends the song begging her not to leave him. And then I watched Heart sing about a woman who's buying herself a stairway to heaven with her bad behavior. Because older women, when they're willing to be honest, will tell you that the way they behaved in their youth toward men is abhorrent. But older women aren't allowed to speak in public anymore. I was talking about this yesterday. You hate and emulate your mother's weakness toward men. But she only needs you to reprogram her phone and the VCR clock. Because if she's not weak, you'll have no need of her. Because you decided that you didn't need to listen to what she knew. And I relate. I relate. And so I watch these beautiful, timeless performances. And I weep. I weep Because your music is not the same. You have the same budgets to travel with shows just like what I watched Heart put on. Your pop stars travel with the budgets to bring choirs and symphony orchestras. I've been watching S&M and listening to Metallica's S&M Symphony and Metallica and thinking about the legend of that show. Catatonia did a tour, a limited small venue tour where they played in an acoustic set in churches, old churches, but they also did a small venue limited tour run with an orchestra. These are things that can be done. Now, Catatonia didn't record their orchestra shows, but my point is that they released a DVD of the ultimate night of the church tour, and bands can do that now, but they don't, because they don't sell, because you don't care, and because the mega fans don't go. Because who's a real mega fan of Taylor Swift? You compete over the mega fanage, but she doesn't get that money. That was so beautiful. And the goddess Eos, the dawn, the goddess Aletheia put it on my heart to talk about it. Now I'm hungry. And the glory is fading, because I'm further away from the moment now, and I'm closer to you, and I can sense your ignorance, and I can remember that you're not actually going to watch this. But I spent my wake-up period this morning, instead of reading ugly news and getting on X. I did actually get on X for a few minutes, but I left X, and instead of being all upset about it and making a video about the dumb shit that I saw that pissed me off, I sat with the dawn to my right. She traveled close to me, and I watched something beautiful. Because if I have any one goal in life, and I have so many, there are so many things that I could be very good at and that I could make the world a better place. It's live performances that matter and that people need and want to attend. But I need help. I need fans, I need mega fans, but I need that competition to come to me financially. I really do. One of my fans, she wouldn't call herself a fan on purpose. But a former employee whose back I had, I defended her every day from bullies, both in the store. Our manager just treated her like dog shit, and our coworkers thought it was okay to treat her like dog shit because she's a skinny redhead. And everybody just thinks it's funny to pick on skinny people because they think they can't fight back, and that they won't temperamentally. That's why they're skinny. This shirt makes me look a lot thicker than what I am. I'm hungry right now. I've got food. I'm just hungry. I'm just polite enough not to eat while I'm doing this often. Sometimes I will because it's funny to me to say rude things while doing a rude thing and show you what your behavior looks like while you stuff your face and talk. She sent me $20, which I was able to use 2 of that to pay down the debt that I owed to Cash App, and really I should pay off that debt and then retake out that debt so I have the money so that I'm constantly paying down that debt is what I should be doing. That's how I should do it. But I have $10. I have $10 that I made yesterday doing surveys, and I have her 20, 18 of her 20. And so I'm going to go to Panera today, and I'm going to charge all my stuff, and I'm going to get a little baked. I'm a little baked now, but I'm going to hit it a couple more times. It's almost empty. Oh, my battery's going to die. And then I'm going to go buy more weed. And I'm going to need new cigarettes. Not new, I'm going to need more cigarettes by the end of the week. And I'm trying to decide if it makes sense now that it's getting warm to just stay to cigarettes. Because cigarettes I smoke less frequently than vaporizing nicotine. And they cover the stink of my body, frankly. Which isn't bad. But I have other goals. But she, because I defended her, is very concerned with defending me and making sure that I'm comfortable. And so anytime I mention being uncomfortable, she throws money at me because she doesn't know anything else to do. But that's the right thing to do. But also she doesn't have my personality or my temperament, so she doesn't know to just sit and like ask me questions, and that'll make me feel better about my temporary discomfort, which I keep telling you guys, and you keep not hearing as well, which means that you have the same personality that she does, where you just throw money at the problem. Because that's what you were educated to do, because that's literally how you were educated. Well, just throw money at your education and that'll solve it. And so buy them toys, buy them education gear, right? Buy them backpacks, buy them utensils, buy them computers. And then, yeah, my mother fell into the same loop. I know where it comes from. And that's why I don't reject it. And that's why I don't seriously reject it. My nose is so crooked sometimes it looks like I'm just constantly dripping boogers. Again, it can be distracting when I want to be distracted from my thoughts. I want to go back to one. I want to watch Metallica flip off MTV and say, you know what, we're not doing this in a 4-minute spot. In an under 4-minute spot, we're playing the whole 7-minute song. You can go fuck yourself. Because we're on television and the kids at home deserve to see this. Yeah, cut to commercial. Cut to commercial and lose your entire audience. Well, lose your metal audience. Do it. Why do you think the Black Album sold so well? Seriously. Those dudes were hot. Those dudes were sexy as fuck in the 80s. Young, angry, long hair, but dirty because it was long because they'd been on the road. Literally, they'd slept on the streets. They just didn't, oh man. They looked awesome, admirable for young dudes. Like, they looked like athletes. And they looked like athletes in the classical Greek sense. They looked like warriors. And they meant to. Because they were doing war. Because they were at war with the radio stations. They were at war with the TV networks. They were at war with the venues. You don't understand how hard. You think that venues just book whoever. But you don't understand how hard it is actually to book a venue. And then to book a venue that's actually going to sound good. That you're going to sound good in. You just have no idea. I remember I used to go, not religiously, but I used to go regularly to the Orange Peel in Asheville, which is a very good venue right now. It's a very good venue right now. And it was a very good venue when I left in 2015. I had been to a few shows in 2015 and 2014. It's still a very, very, very good venue. Something that you don't understand about me is I actually used to work jobs just to go to concerts, just to see bands. I used to work a job just to have a girlfriend, not even a girlfriend, to have a wife, to have a wife, to have a home, and then everything extra went to music. Everything extra went to music. One of the ways that I knew my relationship with my wife was over before I found my girlfriend and introduced the girlfriend so that I had, the backup quarterback ready to go so I could, emulating Green Bay in that way. One of the ways I knew is when she stopped going to concerts with me. Like, she wouldn't go to Kailasa and she didn't have a good time at Mastodon. And how do you not have a good time at Mastodon? She listened to them with me all the time. It's not like she didn't know the music. And so, that's besides the point. The point is that I spent a lot of time watching good music, watching live music. And the Orange Peel used to be a shitty venue for metal. It used to be an absolute shitty venue for metal, but they still booked metal gigs because metal bands wanted to be in Asheville. They wanted to go to perform in Asheville. because they had an audience there. But the venue used to suck balls acoustically for metal. The first time I saw Mastodon there, it was an acoustic nightmare. You could barely hear anything. And so that's what I'm owing to the Dawn here. Is that the Dawn is sexually voracious toward young, intelligent, interesting men. And something that all of my ex-girlfriends, even my ex-boyfriends, have said to me is, well, I thought that I had an interesting boyfriend. I didn't know he had your personality. And it's like, performers, moments, events, you can distance yourself from the personality and you can just revel in the perfection of the performance. And so that's why I don't extend to you friendship. And this is a performance. This is performance art, performative meditation. Because I can't get together a band to do dialectic. I was thinking about that the other day, the ludicrosity of even attempting it isn't worth articulating to you. There are a lot of things that you need to learn on your own. And you know that you need to learn them on your own. That's why you reject everything your mother told you to do. That's why you reject everything I teach you. Everything I teach you, the only thing I get is rejection. Just immediate, automatic, no, rejection. Fundamental rejection. Fundamental rejection as a personality. Oh, I thought you were interesting. I thought that my boyfriend was interesting, but I find you repellent. Rejection, just fundamental, gatekeeping rejection. And I get it. But my heroes, these moments are about defiance. You understand that, right? Like Heart playing that song is about defying those politicians to realize that that song about a girl influenced who a girl became in her late adulthood. And the girls who listen to men are affected deeply. But in that same way, she's reminding Robert Plant to listen to those young women that he raped.